Hello, everyone, and welcome back. As always, I'm your girl, Candy Washington. So, before we dive into today's episode, which is breaking down the latest episode of The Real Housewives of Potomac, Bunking Beds, and Butting Heads, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. And if you're watching live, as you come into the room, be sure to comment down below. Where are you watching from? Who's your faves? Your conspiracy theories, your tea. And if you're watching on the replay, comment down below as well. I want to know your thoughts. If you agree, if you disagree, what's good. So, with that, let's dive right on in. Okay, and let me know if you guys can hear me. I'm using a new microphone, so I just want to make sure you guys can hear me. So, drop it in the chat box if I sound okay, which fingers crossed I do. All right. So let's start out with the Grand Dame herself, Karen Huger. Like I said before, I think that Karen is scared. I think she's really afraid that she could face some jail time. So she is in a corner, her back is against the wall. And she's right. Like she says, this is a time where she's going to see who her real friends are. And I hope she leans into Giselle, even though I know it's hard for her to because Giselle has, played her in the past with the whole, Uncle Ben with the taxes and sending the pizza to her house to see if she really lived there, if she rented it, and just being overall really shady towards her. But I do think that Giselle has changed a bit and is trying to be there to support Karen after the death of her father, after Robin no longer, being on the show with her girls kind of, going off to college, leaving the nest, with Jamal playing in her face and her continuously getting humiliated by these men. I think Giselle has kind of turned a new leaf a little bit. So we'll see with that. But when I want to talk about Karen, I really want to talk about Mia and her evil, disgusting, vile, narcissistic plot to destroy Karen. Number one, I don't know why Mia has so much smoke for Karen when Giselle has said the same exact things that Karen has, talking about Ink, talking about Gordon, talking about the kids, talking about all of the stuff going on in Mia's life and basically calling her messy and not protecting her children at all costs. If that's the excuse Mia is using for going after Karen, then why does she have that same level of smoke for Giselle? Because Giselle was right there with Karen. They were all kikiing, they were all laughing about it. But why is she only taking this wrath out on Karen? Very bizarre, very obsessive, very weird to me. Also, stop trying to get this woman to admit guilt about her DUI on camera when everybody knows she has a pending court case. Like, Karen could go to jail, like with a capital J. Stop playing. Stop it. I thought that was very disgusting. It's also very clear that Mia brought in reinforcements because I'm not a doctor, I don't diagnose, but it seems like Mia is a very narcissistic person. She gets her little flying monkeys, whether it's Jazzy, whether it's Ink, whether it's Gordon, whether it's Jacqueline, to all do her bidding. And she likes to pit people against each other. She likes to pit Ink against Gordon. She likes to pit Jazzy against Jacqueline. Now she's doing Jacqueline versus Karen. So she gets all of these people to do her bidding. And it was very obvious at the dinner in the last scene where Mia's friend is just like, oh yeah, so by the way, like I remember us hanging out and Karen, you accidentally butt dialed us and you said that we thought you were with Ray, but you were really with somebody else. Ha ha ha. Like I would bet my entire world that Mia clearly set that up. I think she explicitly invited these women on the trip. By these women, I mean her other friends, not the housewives, simply to say that about Karen, about the cheating rumors. And that's calculated, that's vindictive, that's evil, that's manipulative. And it's like, why, Mia? Why are you so obsessed with Karen? Because she called you out? If you're mad at anybody, be mad at yourself. You were in the bed with a whole man and you allowed your children to see that, and kids are not dumb. They knew you and Ink were smashing, having sex. Kids are not stupid. They know what you were doing. That's why they went and told their father that we saw mommy in bed with Ink. And then Gordon was the one who brought it to the show. But yet you're mad at Karen because she simply commented on the fact of what the entire world saw based on what you did. So if you want to be mad at somebody, Mia, be mad at yourself. Don't bust it open in a way where your children can see it. And then they went and reported back to their father. So why are you doing literally the absolute most to bring down Karen for something that you did? If you want to blame someone, blame yourself. Nobody told you to be that sloppy and to be that disrespectful when it came to your household. And now the entire world is like, oh, are they going to get the paternity test? Is Jeremiah Gordon's? Is Jeremiah Inks? I'm not in your household, but I think Jeremiah is Gordon's. They look just alike. I pray he is for Gordon's mental health and for the mental health of your children. But you seem to only care about a man that doesn't actually like you or want you. He just wants your money. Okay, so there's that. Now, again, I think that Jacqueline is only going against Karen with all the drinking stuff because Mia is putting her up to it. So let's pivot a bit with Jacqueline and Jassy. Now, I really liked Jazzy at first. When she first came on the scene, I thought she was great. I thought she had a lot of fun. I thought she had a lot of spunk, a lot of energy. But now she's just another pick me. Like, you literally came out your mouth and said, I'm your new sidekick. And then you had the audacity to keep going after Jacqueline and keep going for Jacqueline because you want to replace her as Mia's number one sidekick. I can't believe it, but I agree with Giselle. The low self-esteem of it all. You wouldn't catch me ever in life. Not a joke, not a subliminal, not anything being like, I am another woman's sidekick. I don't know what happened to Jazzy, but she fell off for me 1,000%. And I don't think she can redeem herself. You know what I'm saying? And I also think that I think there's a lot going on with Jazzy that we don't know, like some self-esteem stuff, some weird stuff. Because number one, now she's all up Mia's butt. And number two, okay, let's just pretend in any world, it's okay for her to want to be Mia's sidekick. Let's just pretend. Fine, knock yourself out. But why are you now going so hard against Jacqueline? It's because Mia, with her narcissistic self, which is again just my personal opinion, I'm not diagnosing her. I personally think she's one. Like narcissists do, they do a smear campaign. They talk so badly about someone, and then they get the person that they're doing the talk, not the doing they're talking about, but they're doing the talking to then go and belittle that person on their behalf. I think that Mia gets a kick and a high out of humiliating Jacqueline, out of making Jacqueline embarrassed, out of making Jacqueline look thirsty and stupid. And she does that by going around and telling everybody, oh, Jacqueline's really possessive. Jacqueline's this, Jacqueline's that, blah, 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 blah. But yet you still kick it with Jacqueline. She's still your friend. And now Jazzy is going around basically repeating what Mia has told to her. So if I was Jazzy, if I was Jacqueline, both of them, I would cut ties with Mia. I would get a really good therapist and work on your own self-esteem, because never in life would I ever be beefing with another woman to be the side chick of another woman. And by woman, I don't mean sexuality. I just mean like, no, why would you ever do that to yourself? Absolutely ridiculous. I also don't think that Jazzy and her boyfriend are happy or as in a good place or as a normal relationship, because when they were in the Sprinter van and Jazzy was like, yeah, I'm 3 years older than him, but I think it's good because she said something like she can like either like mold him or be an example or show him the way or some crap like that. And I was like, oh, so basically you think that you are going to play mommy to this man and that's how you're going to keep him or get him. No, that's just going to make him resent you, use you to play mommy to him while he's probably out there with all of the hot thoughts and dipping it and doing it with all the baddies. And you think you're like his girlfriend, but you're really just playing mommy. Because that to me was so much of a red flag. The fact that she used being 3 years older than him as some sort of like badge of honor and how she can like mold him and shape him. Excuse me, miss, he is an adult man, NFL football player, and you want to play mommy to him and you think that's the way to keep him and have a healthy relationship. I don't think so. So PSA to everybody, if you think that by playing mommy to a man is the way to keep him, you're wrong. You're wrong. It's a good way to do everything for him and then have him leave you for the baddie down the street. Okay? Never works out, ever. And so when she said that, I was like, oop, red flag. Oop, red flag. And speaking of red flags in relationships, that's kind of how I feel about Jazzy. Let's go to Kiana. I can never pronounce her name. I'm just going to call her KK because I can't pronounce her name. Let's go to KK. She is also someone who, in my opinion, is in a toxic relationship and needs to break up ASAP and also get a very, very good therapist for self esteem. ASAP. Number one, KK, your boyfriend doesn't like you. I would go as far as to say he's probably the type of man who hates women. There are men, gay or straight, who just hate women. And I think your boyfriend is one of them. He looks at you with disdain and disgust. He looks like he has a 24/7 attitude. He looks like the type of man who doesn't care and he will cuss out a woman if he feels like it. I think you need to get far, 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 far away from this man. He called you his employee. We've seen the foreshadowing of when you tell him that you feel like you shrink around him and he told you to like calm down or some crap, which was completely crazy. And just the energy. KK, he doesn't like you. He doesn't. And the sad part is you are so beautiful and so intelligent and so smart and so accomplished. You have your own med spa, all these great things, boom, boom, boom. But unfortunately, you have the sickness, the mental illness that a lot of women have, thinking that they need to prove their value and their worth to their man, that they have to earn a position next to a man. In my personal opinion, that is a mental and emotional illness that we all need to cure from ourselves. Because the truth is, as a woman, you are intrinsically valuable and worthy. And you never have to prove your value to a man. And the way she's proving herself to him is, oh, I'm like the executive vice president, executor, marketing, and I go to the schools and help out his thing, and I do this and I do that, and we working together, and we doing this, this, and this, because she's trying to prove that she's worthy. She's trying to prove that she's deserving. She's trying to, to me, if I were dating and a guy said to me, what do you bring to the table? I would be like, nothing. And I would get up and leave the table, because that is a red flag. If a guy ever says to you, what do you bring to the table? He's a dusty, he's a weirdo. And that is such a toxic question, because a real man isn't expecting a woman to, quote, bring something to the table. He is expecting for her to bring herself to the table that he built. That is what a real man expects. So a real man would never ask a woman, what do you bring to the table? Her presence would be enough, and he would build the table for her to sit at. Okay? Your man seems cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. He does not like you. He does not like women, and he's going to continue to play in your face. And yeah, he will use you. He will let you go out there and be the executive vice president of marketing of his company that he probably never even asked you to do. You probably just decided to do it to prove that you were deserving and worthy and the value you bring. And that's why he's calling you his employee. And that is why he's like, sure, you can move in, but I haven't asked you to marry me yet. Sure, you can be my employee, even though I haven't asked you to marry you yet. I hope he's paying you. I really hope he's paying you. I hope you're not doing this for free. Anyway, there's that. And also, KK, another reason why I need you to go to therapy and work on your self-esteem is because of the way you thought about Stacey. And I'm going to get to Stacey after this. I'm going to segue that way. You expected, because, Messy Mia gave you guys the bunk beds, and everyone expected Stacey and KK to, like housewives do, get all in a tissy and like upset and want to fight and argue over, oh my God, I can't believe I got the smallest room. I got the smallest bunk beds. How dare you? Which is bonkers. And I'm going to get to that when I get to Stacey's part. But you told on yourself, KK. You said that first you were like, well, I don't even know Stacey like that. I have to bunk with her. I don't even know her. And I expected her to have a more negative reaction. Like you basically expected Stacey to pop off and throw like a princess temper tantrum. And you were like, I don't even know her like that. But then the moment Stacey came and she was like happy and bubbly and like, oh my God, we have bunk beds. I'm bunking with you. Cool. Did you see how quick KK switched to her people pleaser ways and was like, oh my God, this is so great. Let's bunk together. We could use this as like our wardrobe robe. Oh my God, it'd be so much fun. She like flipped it. Now, number one, I'm happy that KK flipped it and got with the program and got a good attitude and saw that as an opportunity to bond with Stacey and to get to know her. And that not taking your bed situation that seriously is actually a really great thing. So I'm happy she flipped it. But what it's telling is her preconceived notion of Stacey. And this happens a lot. I think it's called like pretty girl syndrome or whatever you want to call it. Pretty girl, whatever you want to call it. When there is a woman, I'm talking about Stacey, who is beautiful, really pretty, put together, nice and fun, has some coins, whatever the case may be, other women, even though that other woman, like KK, is also beautiful, wealthy, put together X, Y, and Z, automatically think, oh, she's going to be a bitch. Oh, she's going to be mean, or she's going to be this, she's going to be that. They have all these preconceived notions about you simply based on what they think you have and how you look. She assumed, and she said this herself, and this happens all the time. People will look at you and they automatically don't like you simply because you look good or simply because you have a little coin. It happens all the time. People automatically, well, who do you think you are? You're going to have an attitude. You're going to be this, you're going to be that. You could have not even opened your mouth and they've already assumed A, B, C, D, E, F, G about you simply because you're pretty. And other pretty people do this to other pretty people. Kiana KK, she's a gorgeous girl, but she still was intimidated by Stacey, and she flipped that moment. Stacey was not mean, was not a mean girl, was totally cool. She was like, "Oh, okay, sleepover." She flipped real quick. So there's that. So KK, I want to say to you, you need to kick this Dusty to the curb, get some really good therapy, and to all the women out there, you never, ever, ever have to prove your value, prove your worth, prove your deservingness to any man. Simply because you exist, you are worthy and you're valuable and you are enough. What you bring to the table is you. That's it. That is it. Your energy, your essence. You think I'm playing around? Why do you think a man could go to a sperm bank, give his little seed, and he'll get like what, 10 bucks, 25 bucks, 30, 50 bucks? But for women to harvest our eggs, we make it anywhere from 50K to 125K to 250K because who we are is enough and is super valuable. Anyway, that was a weird comparison, but you know what I'm talking about. Now, speaking of that, let's move on to Stacey. I think Stacey, and this is my prediction, I think Stacey is going to be a sleeper cell. I think she's going to be like Jen from the OC. She is going to rise and become that girl. That is my prediction. I think Stacey is going to somehow win the season or have some really great moments and really just become that girl for a couple of reasons. Number one, the way she is flawlessly, and again, this is just my personal opinion, the way she is flawlessly handling these women without getting out of character, without getting out of pocket, shows me she's that girl. She has nothing to prove to no one. And I actually think she's really fun. Like Stacey to me is someone who I would want to, in real life, be friends with. I think she's really fun. I think she's cool. I like her positivity. I think she's amazing. Number one, she checked the hell out of Ashley without, and this is the difference, because Ashley is messy as hell. Ashley knew what she was saying. Oh, she has a friend. And then try to be like semantics. Well, I said friend. Why is she so mad? When you know the connotation of she's getting a divorce. Oh, but she has a friend. She's all good. The connotation is she's moved on to a man. It's romantic. It's sex, even though they're not having sex, but whatever. You know what I mean? Ashley knows the meaning of what she said. And she was being messy as hell. And she knew she was being messy. But Ashley didn't, not Ashley, but Stacey didn't like blow up at her or cuss her out or go off the deep end or just let it slide. She was like, no, what you said was wrong. And this is why it was wrong. And this is the way I felt. And you knew what you were saying was wrong. And she stayed on her neck, but she did it in a way without getting out of character, without getting out of pocket. But she checked Ashley and let Ashley know we see each other. She was like, you were in my house for hours. You came over the next day. I told you this in confidence. Now you want to ha ha ha, he, and bring it to the table of the girls. That's not okay. She said what she said. And everybody knew it was not okay. But she did it without getting over the top. So then it took away any power Ashley would have, which Ashley likes to do. She'll be like, "Oh, Wendy, you're being condescending," or Karen, you're being crazy, or blah 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 blah. She took away Ashley's power or any of the girls' power to blame the way in which she reacted, to take away from the fact that she was justified in having a reaction. And this is also what I was kind of saying about Lisa Barlow in Salt Lake City. Lisa Barlow, in my opinion, you guys all know I love her, is usually right. But especially when Whitney is like lying and trying to come at her. But yes, I want her to stand up for herself. Yes, I want her to stick it to them. But when you, or like a Shannon on the OC with Tamra, but when you blow up and you leave and you stomp and you yell, and you can do all of that, but when you do all of that, you kind of lose your power, because you can say what you say with your full chest, but keep it all right here and let a person know I see you and we're do. But you're not getting crazy. You're not getting out of pocket. You're not storming out. You're not yelling. You're not flailing. But you're letting that person know I am checking you and I see you. Don't do it again because I'm not the one. That is the power I like. So I think Stacey is a sleeper cell. I think she's going to do great this season. I personally really like her. And then also, let's talk about the bunk bed situation. She handled that flawlessly as well. Because this is the gag. Like I was saying, Mia really thought she was doing something. She thought she was doing her big one by putting Stacey and KK in the bunk beds. You know, all the women was thinking, oh, Stacey's going to throw a temper tantrum. She's going to be, very, prissy, and she's going to act like a princess, and that's going to be a big deal. She's going to feel some type of way. But she strolls in and she's like, oh my God, bunk beds? I've always wanted a bunk bed. Which is what I would do if I was in that situation and I walk in, everybody has these like really nice suites and I'm in like a bunk bed on vacation. Like I know what's going on, but you would never know that I knew what was going on. I'd be like, oh my God, I love bunk beds. I grew up with bunk beds. They're amazing. You want the top or the bottom? I'm a top. You know what I mean? I would do the same exact thing because again, you take away all of their power and you bring it back to yourself. You're not letting these women get under your skin. You're not letting these women get a rise and a reaction out of you. And also on top of that, when you actually have money, I'm just going to keep it all the way 100. When you actually have money, when you are actually used to the finer things in life, you're not going to trip and get all crazy over a less than stellar accommodation on a girls' trip like this. You're not because it's not the coolest thing to you. It's not your only chance. It's not something you've never had before. The novelty when you actually have money, the novelty when you actually have really nice things would actually be staying in the bunk bed, because that would be actually new to you. That would actually be different to you. And I will give you a clear-cut example of this. So first one is, remember when Robin and Giselle lost their GD minds when I think it was Wendy or Karen, I want to say. It was Wendy or Karen or somebody like that had put them in their own little room when they came late and they were put in their own little room and they had to like leave the room to go to their bathroom or something, and they like had such a hissy fit. They had such bad attitudes. They were just acting so stank and so nasty. And they ended up leaving and they went and rented a hotel room that they shared. Because again, when you actually have money, you would get your own hotel room. But then again, Giselle and Robin, I don't know, they're very close. But they left the group house because they didn't like their room to go share a hotel room, right? To me, that is how you act when you're just miserable and you're a nasty person and you actually don't have money and you're just a weirdo and you are a problem and you want to have a problem, which is what they thought Stacey was going to act like because they put her in the bunk bed. I don't think they really check for KK because KK is very quiet. She's very much a people pleaser. So they don't really feel threatened by KK. Okay. So there's that bucket versus when else have we had a bunk bed situation? I'll tell you. Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, 2 seasons ago, or 1 season ago, however you want to count it. Remember when they all went to Aspen and Lisa Rinna, Erica Jane, and Kyle and Dorit thought that they were doing their big one by putting Kathy in the bunk beds? And they thought that Kathy was going to come in and have a big hissy fit and be like, I'm Kathy Hilton. I can't sleep in a bunk bed. And they thought they were really doing their big one by disrespecting Kathy and by putting her in the bunk bed. And she came in, and what did she do? Exactly what Stacey did, exactly what I personally would do. And she was like, oh, a bunk bed, okay. And she went into the bunk bed. She had fun. She was trying to sleep. They kept going in there messing her up. And she's like, I'm trying to sleep. I'm just hanging out in my bunk bed. She did not bat an eye. She did not care. She did not complain. She was like, whatever, this is my accommodation. It is what it is. But they all thought that they were really doing their big one by being disrespectful and belittling and trying to humiliate and isolate these women by putting them in the bunk beds. But just like Kathy Hilton, Stacey just was like, okay, cool, it's no big deal. Because these women actually have money. These women actually are used to nice things in life. And these women, more than anything else, don't have anything to prove to anyone. They're not trying to get validation from anybody. So that's when people who are trying to now play these reindeer games, trying to trigger them by menial things like what room you're going to sleep in, does not faze them because they know they don't need their validation. They know that they can go to the Hiltons, go to the Four Seasons, go to the Maldives, go to Ibiza, hang out, go to the south of France. This is actually novelty and fun to them. So kudos and chef kiss to Stacey. And I really think that she is going to really come into her own and blossom and bloom. I think she's going to be really great on the show. That's just my prediction on her because I personally think she's handling it flawlessly. I really enjoy her as a housewife. Mia calling her boring is again Mia being messy and being a hater and being jealous as hell. Just like Karen said, people come for you because they want to be you, right? I think Stacey is more of a housewife than Mia is. I mean, just gonna throw it out there, Mia is messy as hell and is really gross. I also think that Mia wants to take Stacey away from Karen as an ally because Mia has such a hard on for Karen. I think she's going to want to turn Stacey against her or get her off the show because she's Karen's ally. So Mia is just messy as hell and she's just jealous and is disgusting and narcissistic and absolutely gross. And speaking of that, and then I'll get into Ashley, Wendy, and Giselle. Not so much to say about them, so we'll get there though. But with Mia and the whole Stacey thing and her hard on for Karen, and also when Mia brought her friends to basically say, oh, yeah, Karen butt dialed us and said she was with Ray and blah, 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 blah. This is the gag, Mia. I don't care. And what I mean by I don't care is I don't care if Karen was cheating on Ray. I don't care. Ooh, thank you so much, Chocolate Chunks. Thank you so much for the super chat. Chocolate Chunk says, why did Neck, go on the trip with everyone just to leave the same evening and come back the next day. She did it to secure her room. Yes. Listen, even more than her room, Giselle is doing the absolute most because I think she really wants to keep her job. I think after the last couple of years, after Robin got fired, after she got demoted from sitting next to Andy at the reunion, after the uproar of social media, I think Giselle is doing everything in her power to keep her job. She's being nice to Wendy. She's trying to be nice to Karen. She's showing up, flying out, coming back. I just think she really just wants to keep this job. She also had the legal issues with Robin against Eminem. I think he won in court. I don't really know, but I do think he won. So who knows with legal stuff there. I don't know if Jamal, if the child support with Jamal is ending because the girls are going to be 18 soon, if they're not already. I know the eldest one is over 18 by now. She's in college. And then now we're watching the two twins. I think that they might be 17, 18. When does child support end? At 18? So is Jamal's child support ending? Giselle needs a job. So, yes, she is flying in, she is flying out because she needs that money. Okay. And thank you so much, Chocolate Chunk, for the super sticker and great question. Now, Karen and Ray, I don't I don't care. And what I mean by I don't care is I hope Karen is dipping it and doing it and busting it open and having the time of her 61-year-old life. Number one, maybe her and Ray have an understanding at this point in life. Maybe they just want to do life together. There are so many Meredith, Marks, and Seth on OC on the Salt Lake City. I think this is their arrangement. Again, it's just my opinion. I think a lot of couples, older or younger or whatever, have certain understandings. You do you in this point, I do me at this point, whatever the case may be. Ray said on national television he thinks he's in love with his wife. Excuse me, sir? You think you're in love with me? I would backhand him in my mind, not in real life, because I'm not built to be physical, but in my mind, I would. You know what I mean? On national television, you're telling the world you think you love me? So, number one, they could have an understanding in their marriage. Not every marriage is monogamous, and not every marriage has to tell you whether they're monogamous or not. What people do behind closed doors, as long as everybody is safe and consenting, knock yourself out. So if Karen is dipping it and doing it and busting it, I hope she is. I hope Karen is having the time of her life. Just Karen, get an Uber, get a Lyft, get your driver back because we love you and we don't want anything to happen to you anymore. So I hope she's doing her big one. I hope Karen is dipping it and doing it and busting it. I really, really do. So Mia, you're not doing what you think you're doing. You're just proving that you're evil and you're mean and you're a narcissist and you're messy and you're trying to trap this 61-year-old woman to go to jail. Now, I'm not saying that Karen should not have consequences for her actions. Of course she should. You are under the influence, allegedly, and you get behind a wheel and you drive, there should be consequences for that, of course. But I don't want that consequence for Karen to be to go to jail. That's just how I personally feel. No one died, no one got hurt. And I don't think that she should go to jail because of what could have happened. She needs to face the consequences for what did happen. So, yes, I do think she should have certain consequences, rehab, community service, whatever the case may be. But I personally don't want to see a 61-year-old Karen go to jail. I don't. I didn't want to see Shannon go to jail on the OC. I wanted Shannon to go to rehab, do community service, maybe have your license taken away or something like that. Maybe go to some classes. I don't know what the deal is, but I didn't want Shannon to go to jail either. The same way I don't want Karen to go to jail. I don't want to see these women in jail. I don't. And for Mia to be playing those games, literally trying to trap her, saying, you need to take accountability. You need to admit what you did. Mia might be stupid, but she's not dumb. She knew exactly what she was doing. Exactly what she was doing. And that is really sick. And that is just crazy to me. And also, like, Mia, worry about the mental health and the emotional health of your children rather than doing all of these things going after Karen. And I'm not mom shaming you. I'm saying that as a normal human being, based on everything that you, Ink, and Gordon have put out there publicly on an international platform. So I'm not mom shaming you. I'm just saying what I think any normal, healthy person would say. You need to worry more about the health of your children than who Karen is dipping in and doing it with. Because you're projecting all of your mess onto Karen, and it's not Karen's fault you're in the situation you're in. It's your fault. So, girl, bye. Okay. And last little bit about Karen. Karen, you keep checking Mia and you keep checking Jacqueline because Jacqueline is just being Mia's little narcissistic flying monkey. Now, all of a sudden, Jacqueline's turning on Karen, being like, she's calling me drunk. Again, why are you saying that to people? Why are you saying that on camera, knowing Karen has a court case coming up? Knowing that the lawyers and the prosecutors and all those people always subpoena all of the footage from the shows that they use in their court cases. You're trying to get this woman to go to jail? That's just evil. Why? Because you feel some type of way because she told you about yourself? Mia missed me with that. Number one, free Gordon. I think Gordon is a victim of Mia since she likes to call people abusers. I think he's a victim of her narcissistic abuse. You're going to tell me Gordon is not suffering mentally and emotionally, being in that triangulated situation where you have Ink, another whole man coming into your house, sleeping with your wife, trying to take your place with your children, questioning the paternity of your children, having your children come to you saying that they see him and your mom having sex in your house, and you think your children are not suffering? Mia, you're messy as hell. Miss me. And any of those little Mia minion women, y'all are cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs and messy too. Jazzy, I'm looking at you. All the women who came, the woman who came to try to talk about Karen's story, I'm looking at all of y'all. Jacqueline, I'm looking at you. To me, I feel like they all like have sex with each other and they're all obsessed with each other. They swap men, they swap each other. It's just, to me, it seems almost like a brothel. I don't know, it's just nasty. It's just nasty. And that is obviously that is no shame or shade to anybody who is bisexual or lesbian or anything like that. I'm not talking about sexuality in a derogatory way. I'm just saying that these women just seem like they all this, like Jazzy seemed like she's busting it open with Mia. Jacqueline seems like she's busting it open with Mia. All the women she brought at the dinner seems like they've all have busted it open with Mia. That's what it's giving. Like, ugh, like messy, sloppy, nasty. They all need to go to the clinic. Like, ugh, I don't know what's going on. It's nasty. Speaking of nasty, let's talk about Ashley. Ashley to me seems she's still messy. She's still an instigator, but Ashley seems sad to me. She seems off, depressed. I was shocked when she was talking about how she has to do these gigs. It's giving very Luann de Lesseps, how she has to do all these gigs, hosting podcasts and improv shows and doing all these gigs for money, and what happened to Michael Darby? Because he has some coin, like actual money. I know they're going through a supposed divorce, but the type of money Michael Darby has and the fact that you popped out two of his kids, you would think that you would be set at least until the boys were 18, and if you played your cards right and you invested right and you saved right, you could be set for life if you get that the way, if you keep getting that alimony and that child support and you invested right and all that stuff with Michael Darby type of money, because he has millions of dollars. He allegedly is, a little sleazeball, but he has some coin. So what's going on with that? Because this is the first time I've seen Ashley genuinely look concerned about her financial situation. Prior to that, to me, it seems like she was just like kind of playing it like, oh, we're getting this house and Michael's moving and, he's staying and we're doing this, where to me, it just seemed like she was fronting. But now I'm kind of like, what's going on? Like now I really want to know what's going on between Ashley and Michael. It seems like it's very dark days. And remember when she was talking to her lawyer and she was like, I want the boys to be able to be in their like in their home, like in their house. And I was like, wait a minute, Michael isn't letting the boys stay at the house. These are still his children. Do you know what I mean? Like these are still his kids. What do you mean she's worried about if his kids have access to the house? It's one thing to be like, I'm worried if I can live in the house, but not the children. Like, shouldn't the children be able to stay there? And so she was like, I need to do all these gigs so I can keep, as a working mom, that for me and my kids to have this lifestyle we're accustomed to. Either she's still fronting and lying and is only acting like this for the camera and for show, or something super dark really is going on. And I fear that in the beginning, like not this season, but like this season, like last season, it was all a front, but somehow that front became real. Like first it was just for the show, but now it's actually real. You know what I'm saying? Because there's just a different energy. She's not drinking. I don't know if maybe she's on an antidepressant again. I'm not a doctor. I don't diagnose. I'm not trying to put that on anybody. I don't know. I'm just saying she's not drinking, and I just sense a sadness to her. And even though Ashley's not my favorite person, and I do think she's messy as hell, I do think she stirs the pot. I don't think she's really anybody's friend, even though she's now the new Robin and is just being Giselle's side piece and mouthpiece. I do feel for her in this situation if what she is saying is true. To be married to someone who has a lot of money, then to have two of his children, then to be worried about how you're going to provide for you and your children. That's sad. That's I feel bad. I feel bad for any person married to a rich man or not who is concerned about that, who and all, but there's just, I don't know. I need more information because something isn't making sense. I just never thought Michael would be the type of person. Sure, he might cut ties with Ashley because he wants to go dip in and do it, but to cut off his children financially, can't she go to court and get a court order? So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if she's still playing in our faces, but to me, it seems like I would just take him to court. I would get the judge to step in because there are a lot of men who make way less money than Michael who have court orders to pay child support. So I don't know what's going on with Ashley. I don't know if she's still lying and playing in our faces or what, but something is weird. Something's going on. Something's going on. And she needs to leave Stacey alone because you're not Stacey's friend. You're jealous of her. And that it is what it is. It's like the Katie situation. You were jealous of Katie. Katie comes in, she's beautiful. She has like the rich boyfriend. Stacey's beautiful. She comes in, she has the rich husband, soon to be ex-husband, living in the big house together, all of these things. You want that. And you're jealous, So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. But I'm confused about the Ashley Michael children money situation. That to me, I gotta see what's going on with that. All right, now let's talk about Wendy. I only have 3 things to say about Wendy. I like Wendy. She's still boring. And I'm happy she's standing up for Karen. That's it. I do like Wendy. I have nothing bad to say about her. I still personally think she's boring. I don't think there's anything that's very interesting about her. I think she's nice. I think she has a beautiful family. She's kind of corny to me. Wendy's always been very corny. She's like a cornball to me. Like she's just corny as hell. She kept saying, "Oh, the weekend's about me. It's my birthday." No, the weekend, nobody cares it's your birthday. The only reason why Mia went all out for your birthday was to stick it to Karen. But nobody actually cares that it's your birthday, Wendy. I'm sorry. But Wendy, to me, sweet person, beautiful, smart, great family, but boring. I don't care. I do like the fact that she stood up for Karen in the van when Jacqueline was trying to, and Giselle were like, yeah, Karen calls us drunk all the time. Who cares? And then she was like, nope, she's not in the van to defend herself. And she shut it down. Kudos to that. I forget who tries to come in between Wendy and Karen. I hope it doesn't work. It's either like Mia or Jazzy. Whoever, if it's Jazzy, it's because Mia told her to, because Jazzy is now Mia's puppet, which is sad and disheartening. Um, but I hope it doesn't work. I hope that Karen and Wendy stay allies and stay friends. But that's all I have to really say about Wendy. Cause yeah, if Wendy were not on the show, would we miss her? Not me. And then Giselle, just my only note to Giselle is this: mind your business. Just mind your business. I know you are trying to save your seat on the show. You're trying to save your job, but just mind your business. Newsflash, we don't like it and we don't need you to produce everything and to step in and everything. Mind your business. Like when Karen and Jacqueline were going at it, and Karen, rightfully so, was called her out and it's like, you're two-faced and you backstab me. You're going around telling people I called you and I was drunk when you know I'm facing a court case for a DUI. And I thought that was weird. And then Giselle inserts herself. Well, no, Karen, I didn't take when Jacqueline said, I don't give an F. Like I was with Karen. I was like screaming at the TV. I was like, yes, like I don't give an F how you take something, Giselle, that number one is none of your business. Number two has nothing to do with you. And number three still has nothing to do with you. Like, just stop. Just stop. You know what I mean? I just wanted to be like, this situation has nothing to do with you. Literally none of your business. Does not matter how you take what this person says when she's talking about me and my life and my situation and my personal freedom is on the line. Giselle, I need you to shut the hell up all the time, every day, all day. Right? Now, if you want to be friends with Karen, be a friend to Karen. And you need to get out of your feelings about her, planting or having the same awards the night of your, G&A and your charity to your father, which is all beautiful. And I know you're still going through mourning and condolences, but for as many times over the last 9 seasons, you have systematically played in this woman's face and done active stunts on Karen. Get over it. You've stunted on this woman over and over and over and over again, and you act like her having a party the same night of your party and still saying everyone can go, and having all the women try to go is now the end of the world. Girl, stop. And also, didn't when Karen this was a couple seasons ago when Karen's parents passed, and Karen and I went back to the hotel room because she wanted to either the hotel room or her room or something like that. They were traveling to like relax or whatever, or there was like some fight. And Karen had ended up on like Instagram Live or TikTok, just, doing that. And then Giselle and Robin and all of them were like, oh, Karen said she, needed to take some time because she was mourning her parents. Why is she on Instagram? Why is she on that? She's just using that. So you don't remember how you played in Karen's face when she was grieving the loss of her parents? But now you expect everybody to bow down to you now that you're grieving the loss of your father? Now, two wrongs don't make a right, but you need to have awareness of how you have treated people in the past can shape the way they treat you in the present. So don't act like you haven't done a lot of stuff to this woman to justify her being guarded with you. Now, I do think Giselle is changing. I do like her more this season than I've ever liked her the entire show, to be perfectly honest with you, except for maybe season one, but I can't remember what I thought of her season one. She's a softer Giselle. She's a more honest Giselle because she's going through her own stuff, her own grief, her own loss. And unfortunately, life has a way of humbling you, usually through trauma and tragedy and loss, is when you find true humility. And I mean positive humility, not toxic humility. And so I think that's kind of where she's at. So I hope these women can find their way back to each other. So that's kind of where I landed on what's going on with this season and what's going on with this episode. Basically, Karen, we are rooting for you, girl. I hope you don't get any jail time and you stay on Mia's neck. You stay on Jacqueline's neck. Don't let these women let you slip up. Mia, you are evil. You are a narcissist. You're messy. Worry about your kids instead of worrying about what's going on between Karen's leg. legs and stop getting all of these women who you're hooking up with to do your bidding, you're definitely busting it open for all of these women. It's very, very obvious. Again, I don't care about like sexuality and all that stuff. I'm not saying that to diss that. I'm just saying if it were men, I would say the same exact thing. I don't care. I just think stop getting your little Mia minions to do your dirty work and go after Karen. Leave Karen alone. Stacey, I think, is a dark horse. I think she's a sleeper cell. I think she's going to shine this season. And the way she is flawlessly staying in her power, the way she is flawlessly being that girl, the way she is rich and she knows it, but she doesn't need your validation. She just simply is it, is everything. I love her. I hope her and Karen stay allies. Really, really hope they stay allies. Ashley, I think she's depressed and sad this season. I want to know what's going on with the finances in her alleged divorce with Michael. I'm nosy. I want to know the details. What is going on with that divorce? What does the post nup look like? What's the kid situation? Alimony, child support? What's going on with that? Who's getting the house? I want to know. Wendy, I like you, Wendy, but you're boring to me. There's really nothing going on. And you're not 40. I don't care what you say. You're lying. You have to be like a solid 45, 46. Just saying. Giselle, Giselle's doing the best she can. Just mind your business, okay? She's doing the best she can. And then KK, I love you, KK. Get a good therapist. Work on your self-esteem. Work on your self-love. Break up with that man. He does not like you. I think he hates women. That's just how I feel. So with that, as always, you guys, I want to know what you guys think. So be sure to like, subscribe, and share. And yeah, I will drop the link in case anybody wants to come up and chat. And in the meantime, I will take your candy can questions and comments.